Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know, surprise, surprise, I have posted. I know I have been MIA for quite a minute, but I'm back and I thought I would share a video. A few of my young folks asked me about cooking, and I thought, let me go ahead and just share something simple, very simplistic, just me in the kitchen cooking, and I'm going to try to show the steps to any beginners out there that may want to have a home cooked meal, because my teenagers, college kids, and my young adults are doing this Uber and DoorDash and all the things a little too much, spending buku money on takeout. So I said that nope, it's time for y'all to get in y'all kitchen, go shopping, and spend your money wisely and cook for yourselves. That way you know that the food is fresh and you know how much preservatives or seasonings and all of the things that you use on your dishes. You know at least that you're the ones by your own hands that you've added it. So let's get in here, get in the kitchen, and cook with me. Okay, first, we're starting off by washing our beef. I know the experts say don't wash your meats, but clearly they weren't raised by Eleanor or Sarah. And they warn you that cross-contamination can happen in your kitchen by doing this, but really, who's cooking? Toddlers? I mean, we can handle this. And that's what bleach and disinfectant is for, right? And although I cook a lot, I do get skeeved out handling raw meat. So that's why I use my gloves, and my sister Tanya is also that way as well. Another natural cleaner to use on your raw meats is citrus, lemons, limes, oranges, also vinegar. Vinegar is a great natural source to use for raw meats to cook your food as well. And so my advice to young folks would be to make sure that you take some precautions when cooking for yourself and for others so no one gets sick on your watch. Another tip I can suggest is to have tools for each category of your food: fish, meat, chicken, vegetables, fruit. Have something separate so you don't cross-contaminate, and make sure that you clean up as you go. Okay, so now I'm starting on my onions. I'm slicing up some onions because I'm going to go ahead and caramelize some onions. Caramelized onions give so much flavor to steaks. I personally don't like eating onions because I'm allergic to them, raw at least. But my husband loves onions, and we all can appreciate the flavor that it lends to any type of meat, fish that you're cooking. So onions is another option to go with. Throw it in a nice hot pan after you sear your meat. Let it marry the flavors that was left over in that pan and get nice and caramelized. You normally want to cook your onions slow. You don't really want to add it to a high heat because you'll scorch them. And I don't like the flavor of scorched onions. Ask me how I know. But anyway, you can just cut up your onions, and that is an easy way to impart some more flavor to your meat or whatever dish that you want to have for dinner. Okay, so now we are moving on to caramelizing our onions, or at least sweating them down. Normally, I would like to really candy and caramelize my onions, but I didn't have the time. Again, it was a quick meal night. I wanted to get this meal done. The little lady was hungry, and I was hungry myself actually. So I wanted a quick turnaround, but my onions came out just fine, and everybody was happy. But you see how I did not clean my pan. I left some of the seasoning and some of the oil and whatever drippings that was from my steak. I left it in the pan. I didn't wipe out my pan. Sometimes I will. Most times I won't wipe out my pan because I want my onions to pick up all the flavor that was in that pan prior to my onions getting in that pan. So that's another way of cooking. You see how they're just picking up all of that flavor. It just looks so good, and the smell is just fabulous. You wouldn't believe that I don't like onions, but I can appreciate, again, the flavor that they lend to foods, and also the aroma that happens when you cook onions. All right, so next up, I'm moving on to fix my baked potatoes. And first, I'm going to give them a good scrub and wash to make sure that I scrape off or scrub off any and all debris. Although we're not eating the skin, you want to make sure that you clean your potatoes as best as possible. So this is what I'm doing here. And baked potatoes are one of the easiest things that a beginner with cooking can do. You can't really mess it up. And as you'll see me in a few seconds in the next frame, you can either season your baked potato as it's baking just to kind of have it absorb some of the flavoring, or you could just choose to scrub it, dry it, and then just wrap it up. But either way, it's optional. If you want to bake them plain, or you can add your salt and your pepper and your olive oil like I'm doing now. It's all up to you, but the choice is yours, and you can add those goodies after you bake your potato as well. As you'll see, I went ahead and I added a little salt, pepper, butter, and sour cream. I don't think I added cheese. I don't believe I did, no. But you can even add cheese. You can even add broccoli to your potato. So baked potatoes are one of the easiest things to cook for dinner if you are a young person starting out, or a teenager or whatever, and you're not really used to making so many things. And then another tip, let me just say, roasting items is one of the easiest ways that you can cook. You don't have to sear and do all of the fancy techniques that you may see, because that's what makes it a little daunting or scary, because I'd be like, child, please, I'm not doing all that. When I first started out, I stuck to the basics. Although I had a grandmother, mother, and sisters before me, they cooked all the time. So I kind of knew just by watching the techniques and things. And I was in the kitchen also with, my mother, grandmother, and all. But when I was a new wife, I just started out easy, and sometimes I failed, sometimes it was a hit. So yeah. So now we're moving on to our broccoli. And as I was saying, normally I would roast my broccoli, but the little lady, she has some nerve. She don't really like the roasted broccoli. She prefers me to either steam or blanch the broccoli and then finish it up with like some seasonings and things. So I will say that I think I cooked it a little too long because she said it was too soft for her. She does like a snap or a bite. So next time I'm just going to leave it be after I blanch it and cool it down. Once I reheat it, I'll reheat it just once and then take it off the heat because I think I left it on the heat too long. But yeah. Okay, my next step here is I'm giving my broccoli florets a good rinse. So this is not necessary since we are going to be blanching them, and that should kill off any bacteria or anything that is lurking on them. But I mean, hello, have we met? I always rinse off everything. I clean all my fruit, all my vegetables. This is just a precautionary measure just for my peace of mind. You don't have to go through all of this, but look who you're dealing with. Okay, so here is where I think I went wrong. So after I pulled my broccoli spears out of the boiling water, I should have gone ahead and put them in my ice bath water and let them just stay there, right? And then I also should have like just let them sit there just a little while longer so they could have really stopped cooking all the way. I think I transferred them too fast to the pot. They did cool down, but I think I warmed them through too long because, again, broccoli holds heat and the carryover cooking will continue to cook your food. So she wanted them a little snappier, but now I know. So, cooking is always a trial and error, and I've been cooking for years now, and sometimes I don't always get it right. And I also, another mistake is to not cook for yourself. If you're cooking for other people, you do have to consider what they like. Just like my daughter and my hubby, they may not like the steaks all the way well done, which thank God we kind of all do. But sometimes she doesn't want hers burnt to a crisp. Like I like jerky almost. Like my steak and meats have to be well done. But this is the thing. You have to make sure that you're cooking, keeping in mind the other people also. So I like everything like cooked to a crisp, well done, all that good stuff. I can appreciate a good snap on a vegetable every now and then. But your girl is over 50, and sometimes those vegetables that are not all the way done does not agree with my system. But again, I have to keep in mind I may have to separate, put a portion aside for myself, and then just go ahead and prepare the food that your family loves to eat and enjoy, because I did not want to mess this up for her, but apparently I did when it comes to broccoli, and that's one of her favorite vegetables is broccoli. So I'm just learning. Most times I get it right, but for this time I kind of fumbled the ball when it came to the broccoli. But she ate it, she was satisfied, but she did share her reviews. She gave me her reviews, y'all, like girlfriend going to keep it a buck, and she let me know. But okay, so let's get back to the video. Okay, so next up I am preparing corn, some frozen corn for the little lady. I'm going in with my seasonings and my liquids again. And if you'll notice, I use the same seasonings for the most part. With certain dishes, you can throw different seasonings in to change the flavor profile of your dishes. However, what we eat usually calls for like uniform or the same seasonings with a twist. Like you can, like for corn, I'm using chicken stock, but I also am going to use some either half and half or heavy cream or milk if I don't have the other two on hand. So I normally go in and the spices are redundant up to a certain point, and then you can change your flavor profile by adding something else. So with corn, I usually like to add milk because it will add a sweetness to it and make it like burst in your mouth when you eat it. It plumps up your corn. This is just my experience. So yeah, so I'm going ahead and just going to add my frozen corn to my seasoned liquid, and I'm going to let that warm through. Okay, so now I'm doing the second part of the broccoli preparation. So here is where I believe I went wrong. As I was discussing prior, I think that I cooked my broccoli too long because it's soft. In this process here, I really believe this is where I went downhill. The first thing, I should not have added a lot of liquid. I should have just covered the bottom of my pan and let the liquid absorb and evaporate in my broccoli, and just tossed in my pat of butter and just coated them and then let them sit off the heat. So I could have just added that coating of flavor to my broccoli without cooking it for an extended period of time, which made them too soft. So that's where I went wrong. Just looking back at the footage, I've made broccoli like this numerous times, and most times, because she always requested, I apparently get a hit. But this time, I think that either I got distracted, wasn't paying attention, and I let my broccoli cook too long. I used too much liquid, which made them a little too soggy for the little lady's taste. Okay, so we are coming to the end, and the last thing that I'm going to prepare before my meal is completely done is my garlic bread. So I love this bread that I pick up from Wegmans. It's a Tuscan bread, and it has like garlic flavors on the crust. And so I started out by smearing some butter on it. The butter wasn't as soft as I would have liked it to be. Again, rushing and things. I didn't get a chance to set my butter out and let it get room temperature so it's more spreadable. But, you know, I powered through this and buttered the baguette pieces and or the bread slices, and sprinkled a little bit of granulated garlic on it. We don't like overpowered garlic bread. None of us do. So I tread lightly. Ask me how I know. But yeah, so this is the last step before the meal is complete. And let me just say again, for those who may watch this video, it's a lot of different food choices, but they're so easy. And you don't even have to go as far as I did with the seasonings and either technique or, you know, the steps or whatever. But what I made was a very well-rounded, hearty meal for you to feed yourself and or your family and or friends or a roommate if you're in college and things of that nature. But yeah, so I just want to say, get out there and try your hand at cooking, young people. It's not as hard as it looks. It really isn't. And you know, the more you do, the better you'll become. Practice does not make perfect. It makes progress. And again, don't be afraid to make mistakes and missteps and things. You learn from your mistakes, especially in cooking. And if all else fails, throw it out. If it's too salty and things of that nature, if you can't, drop a potato, all that good stuff. We'll talk about those tips later on in a few videos, and maybe I'll just make a separate video to address how you can come back from certain fails. And my husband can talk about that because he's really heavy-handed with seasonings. And in the beginning of our cooking journey as married couples, he would season the heck out of stuff. And I would try to push through certain things like greens or string beans or cabbage, and I'd just be like, oh my God, it's too salty, And a trick was adding either, I think it's a potato or a turnip or something, a root vegetable that will absorb the over-seasoned, item or spices or whatever, and then you can pull that through. But we'll get to that later. So look at this plate here. This is the finished product. I did add a salad on my plate because, again, your girl is over 50. I'm trying to watch my cholesterol. It's a little high. But, yeah. So here's the rice, and I'm fixing my plate. I don't know if I had rice on mine. I think I did. But this was such a delicious, hearty meal. Everybody was truly satisfied, as you can tell from my plate. So I hope and pray that you guys give cooking a chance. Enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.